So for Tyler, how would you summarize your time here at Arizona so far?
Yeah, so I came in as a freshman in 2022, and I, didn't really get much playing time my first couple years. I've had multiple tight end coaches. I'm on my third one now. And I really just feel like that kind of put a chip on my shoulder that has led to development that I've seen throughout the years. So,
And what have you learned from the three different tight end coaches?
that's a great question. I mean, it's really interesting because I think every coach has, their different techniques and, different ways of teaching. And I feel like it's played a huge role in my development as a player, being able to pick the brains of, multiple different coaches and kind of add it to my game. I feel like it's really helped me develop on the field for sure.
Sam, obviously this offense is very different from the one you guys ran last year. How would you describe what the transition has been like, and what do you like about this system?
I think the transition's been good. We brought in a lot of guys who have helped us a lot to be competitive within, different position groups. The tight ends are competing with receivers for, 11 personnel and things like that. And I think that's helped the team grow and everyone on offense become better because of that, because of how everyone's competing with each other. So I think it's been going good.
Tyler, you mentioned how you're part of that 22 recruiting class. What was it like going through the recruiting process and also, I guess, developing the relationships with so many of those guys that had a big part with Arizona becoming a good program?
It was awesome. I mean, my favorite part about college football is just the relationships that I've built, with my teammates over the course of the years. And I just feel like that's, one of the main things that great teams have is great team chemistry. And I feel like this year that's something that we have, a lot of right now. So, and this, there's been a lot of new faces that just got here in the past couple months. So, imagine where we can be in, the coming years. So it's been good.
Between yourself and like T-Mac and Noah and the list goes on, how do you think that 22 recruiting class will be remembered?
Really just electric. I feel like there was a lot of playmakers in that class. We had Cam Burnett in the tight end room as well. Tanner McLaughlin was part of that class. They did a really good job recruiting, and I just feel really honored to be part of that, and I'm glad to still be here.
For Tyler, a lot of people these days who are in your position, they might look to leave and go somewhere else. Why did you decide to stay here, and also were you frustrated along the way when you weren't getting the playing time that you probably wanted?
Like I said before, it's kind of put a chip on my shoulder. I think at the end of the day, I trust what Coach B is saying, and I really like Coach Miller. At the end of the day, like I just have been leaning on my teammates, and like I said before, the relationships that I've built, have been helping me develop over the course of the years as a tight end. And so I feel like my connection with my teammates and the chemistry that I've built is what's motivated me and kept me at Arizona.
So Sam, you were a part of the San Jose State group, and now you're here. So you've been with Coach Brennan for several years now. What stands out to you when you think about the culture and just the leader that Coach Brennan is?
Yeah, something that I've always liked about Coach Brennan is that I can tell he truly cares about his players, and that's not something that every coach shows. Even though they might care about him, they don't show it, but he really shows it. And even when I was a freshman at San Jose State, I kind of like leaving home for the first time and stuff. He was kind of like a father figure to me, and to have a head coach be that kind of figure, I think is really special. So yeah, I think he really cares about us, and he's always trying to put his best foot forward for the team, and everything's for us, for the players. So I think that's really important.
Is it difficult when like you say all those things and the kind of guy that he is, but you see maybe some of the criticism that he's gotten over the last year?
I mean, we don't really focus on that. I just try to, as a team, we just try to, focus on getting better every day, coaches included, players included. So everyone's just trying to better themselves, and, we don't really listen to the outside noise. We're focused on each other.
For both of you, how would you describe each other's games? You describe Tyler, and Tyler, you describe.
I go first? All right. Yeah, I think TP kind of mentioned it earlier with his recruiting class, saying how they're explosive. I think TP is a really explosive tight end. Obviously, he's got that length. He's really tall, long arms, thick lower half, and that helps him be, dominant in the run game and also really explosive running routes. So, yeah, I think TP's got a great combination that makes him a good player. And I'm trying my best to help him be the best he can be too, because we need everybody.
Yeah, for Sam, I feel like one of the biggest things that stands out to me is just his ability to get open in the passing game. That's something that whenever we watch film together, tight end's a very versatile position. So there's always ways that you can learn from other guys, and I hope that my strength, the other guys are trying to pick apart and improve their game, and Sam's ability to get open in the passing game is definitely something that I've been working on. I feel like since he's got here, the past year, it's helped me in the passing game for sure. So,
Tyler, can you tell us about your family background? I think your dad played professional baseball in Japan.
yeah. So my dad got drafted out of high school by the Montreal Expos. Played with them for a little bit, and then went to Japan. So I actually lived there on and off for a little bit. So it's been really cool. He came back. He was playing. I can't remember. I think like about 8 years there, and then came back, played for a couple more years here, and then was a coach for a long time. And I'm just really grateful for that opportunity to be able to travel. I've got to see like many different places. So, and like being in Japan was awesome. It was an awesome experience for me. So, yeah, it was really cool.
What other places have you visited?
He was always in Florida for spring training. He worked with the Marlins. He was a pitching coach. So I'd always go to Florida. A lot of states on the East Coast, that I otherwise wouldn't really go to. So it's cool because I've lived in Arizona my whole life. Like the desert's what I'm used to. So it was always cool to travel and go, see that, other parts of the country. It was awesome. So.
What was your favorite part about living in Japan?
Honestly, the people there were like so nice. Yeah, it was really cool. Food was really good too. So, yeah, and just watching my dad play grow up. He's been a real role model for me. As I've been growing up, and that was just something really cool. I always looked up to my dad. We would go to his games. Watch him play. And especially as a coach, I feel like that's one of those things where it's a very unique experience for me because even though he's a baseball coach, like all coaches are have the same mindset, and so it's really cool to pick his brain and talk to him about as a player to like a coach being my dad. So I think it's really cool.
Tyler, did you play baseball?
I did, yeah. I grew up like in a baseball family. Like that's what I thought I was gonna do up until high school. So yeah. I really just fell in love with football. Started playing my freshman year. Started as a quarterback, and eventually moved to receiver. Then towards the end of the year, freshman year, they started doing 12 personnel sets. Started putting my hand in the ground, and I just fell in love with it, and I was like, yeah, this is where I want to be. So.
Sounds like you kind of physically grew out of all of those.
Yeah, definitely.
Sam, you listed George Kittle as one of your favorite athletes. Is that your favorite tight end to watch?
Yeah, I think so.
What about him?
I like how you can tell he kind of like plays like with a chip on his shoulder. He's kind of nasty, especially in the run game. You can tell. We actually have a cut up of some NFL players, and George Kittle's on there a lot, dominating defensive linemen in the NFL in the run game. And so I feel like I kind of have that savviness that he has to get open as well, but I just want to try and implement what he does in the run game into my game as well. And so I like watching him a lot for that reason.
Tyler, do you have an NFL tight end that you admire or emulate?
I would agree. George Kittle, his blocking highlights are just, the effort is unreal, and I feel like that's just something that all tight ends should emulate,
For Tyler, I would say coaching's also alluded to the fact that this year you've been a different Tyler, a new Tyler. What do you think you've grown in your game? Like, what areas would you like?
I would say just my physicality. When I first got to college, like it was fast, and it was just something that I wasn't used to. Because I was, pretty raw coming into college. As a high school tight end, like I didn't know the game as well as I do now. And I feel like now I just feel like it's a little bit more second nature. I don't have to think as much on the field. And I feel like I can just play hard, and especially with this coaching staff who, they really want us to just play, as the most excited team to be out there and play and finish with violent intentions every time. I feel like being put in that position and being able to do that is what's helped me grow as a tight end the most.
Kind of along the lines of Michael's question, do you wear 87 because of Gronk?
I don't know if it's because of Gronk. People compare me to Gronk a lot. I mean, I don't, in my opinion, I want to make, my own name for myself. I think 87 is just like a really cool tight end number, and that's what I stuck with. I started in high school, wearing number 87, and that's just what I've stuck with through college.
Did you get to meet Gronk when he was down here?
Yeah, I did my freshman year when he was here.
And then, Sam, you're doing real estate development. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I'm in a master's program right now for real estate development. And originally, the NFL's the goal, but, as a plan B, I originally wanted to do firefighting for probably like 4 or 5 years. I talked to my dad my senior year of high school, just in case football didn't work out, what to do. And he said if he could do it all over again, he'd do firefighting. So I really wanted to do that. And then when I got here, I got to choose a master's program, and I chose real estate development, and I'm a lot more interested in it than I thought I would be, which is, I was surprised, but I'm excited about it. I've been working with Tobruk and Beyond Football to try to build connections in Tucson and help, one day get my foot in the door into real estate development, and that's something that, I've taken a big interest in that I didn't think I would, and I'm glad I have.
What made it so interesting?
So my grandpa, who's one of my idols, I look up to him a lot. He's from Mexico. He moved to America, brought my mom and her siblings and my grandma over with them, and he started a construction company in the Central Valley in California. And so I've always kind of been around it. In the summer I'd be on job sites with them and stuff, and just being able to be a part of something and build something and then see the finished product and see people, using it and enjoying it whenever I drive by it, I think that's really cool.
What's the name of the company?
It's called Guillermo's Construction.
Guillermo's Construction?
Yep.
What did your dad end up doing for a living?
My dad was a produce salesman in California. So he sells grapes mostly. Yeah.
We have time for one more. Anybody else has a question? We good? Okay.
Appreciate you guys.